All right, welcome in to Big Hitters Only. This is going to be a ACC Kickoff, ACC Media Day focused podcast. We have 3 guests. They're going to come on bang, bang, bang. We first had Josh Graham on from the Josh Graham Show, which airs in the Triad. He's based out of Winston-Salem, Kernersville area. We dive into general storylines from ACC Kickoff in Charlotte and also some basketball stuff before the internet cut off. We had a lot of internet trouble with Josh's interview and Conor's interview. Conor O'Neill from On3 covers Duke and Wake Forest. We brought him on next. Good buddy of mine. Played golf together. We dove into a lot of Wake Forest stuff, some Duke stuff, ACC Kickoff stuff in general. A little golf talk, I think, at the end before it cut off again. But just 2 quick interviews to kind of get you up to speed on the ACC Kickoff in Charlotte, the kind of preseason preview event for the 2025 ACC football season. And then the next day, Friday, we recorded an interview with Pat Welter, sportscaster, sports anchor, sports reporter at WRAL. Covers UNC a lot, Duke and NC State, along with the Hurricanes. We dove into similar stuff. A lot of Belichick talk, Jordan Hudson talk. Stay tuned for that. And some storylines from the ACC Kickoff. Trying to ramp up here as we gear up for the 2025 football season. You know, we had the summer doing 1 podcast. I'm not truly locked into this team right now, this UNC football team. Hoping to kind of learn the roster a little more over the next month. But I hope you enjoy this podcast. Again, we're always brought to you by Drink Delta Spirits. Delta Spirits, they've rebranded to, I think, New Grav Delta Spirits. But the promo code BHO10 works at checkout. I'm Googling it right now to make sure I have the right. drinknewgrav.com and then use promo code BHO at checkout. I've been handing these out to friends and family. A THC-based beverage. When you buy this and use our promo code, it gives us a little chunk of your spending to help us pay our producers and graphics guys behind the scenes. Shout out Connor and Garrett. Delta Spirits, drinkdeltaspirits.com, promo code BHO10, drinknewgrav.com should work as well. Guys, I hope you enjoy this podcast. Some in-person stuff with Josh Graham and Conor O'Neill, and then a recorded studio interview with Pat Welter of WRAL. A good perspective of the in-state schools and a lot of Belichick talk as he took over ACC Media Day on Thursday in Charlotte. All right, now we bring on Josh Graham, the Josh Graham, Mr. ACC, for your second appearance on Big Hitters Only. Josh, how's it going?
Why does me smiling make you smile?
I was wondering what you're smiling at. Give us your credentials. WSJS, the longest running radio show out of North Carolina.
No, just in the Triad.
In the Triad.
Don't want to take away the title from Kyle Bailey next to me at FNZ, or maybe even from the folks. Adam Gold's been going at it longer, but different windows. So give those guys their flowers.
There you go. We're here in Uptown Charlotte at the Hilton for ACC Media Day. You've been here all 3 days, right?
I have.
This is Thursday. We're recording this at 11:04 a.m. What are the main stories you've been tracking, kind of hearing? What's the main stories following ACC football this season, heading into the 2025 season?
Strangely, this is the first ACC football kickoff I can remember that football was actually central to the conversation and not realignment, not doom and gloom. Because you might remember it was at this event 4 years ago, in 2021, where I remember a local radio guy coming up to me, I think from South Carolina, and saying, you see this Houston Chronicle headline that says that Texas A&M and Texas or Texas and Oklahoma are about to leave for the SEC? And I was like, that's stupid. And then we learned a week later, the world in college football had changed when that happened. And then the following year, it was in reaction to UCLA and USC going to the Big Ten, and the alliance the ACC put together foolishly with those conferences collapsed, and that was the conversation. And then, it just feels every year we're not talking about football. But this year, we are, because Bill Belichick's at the center of things. And
Clemson has a good team.
Yeah, this is the most talented Clemson team since Trevor Lawrence and them won the national title or went to the title game, lost to Joe Burrow and LSU. So it feels honestly like there's more football being discussed this week.
Yeah, the Clemson and Florida State lawsuits against the ACC have been settled. There is a roadmap out for teams they want to leave the ACC once you get to 2030 or whatever. What else about? I mean, the Belichick. I mean, I'm here on Thursday for Belichick. Like, that's the story we were just talking about before we went on air, that they're hiding him right now. He's like this kind of mystical, ghost-like creature that's casting his shadow over the whole ACC media day because he's such a big deal. He's creating more gravity than Dabo Swinney, who usually is the belle of the ball, as we look at him being interviewed over there.
25 reporters deep.
Yeah. So
walking a walkway here at the Uptown Hill.
And we were talking about how you want to get him, you know, you're trying to get Belichick on your radio show and stuff. And it's just like, it's a completely different scene with him in tow here in Charlotte.
Yeah. And I'm not going to excuse that behavior. I don't excuse it. Like, I think it's nonsense.
What behavior?
That he's not coming
like
to Radio Row and he's acting like
better than that.
Correct. Like, again, we've sat in this same room and had Coach K, had Roy Williams sit down and do this, and those people have actually done things in college sports. I'm sorry, Bill Belichick, you're new to this conference. You're new to college football. If Dabo Swinney can talk to reporters and block a walkway where you have poor saps going to the Mary Kay convention right down the road, not knowing what the hell's going on, like, if he can stand there and do this for a half hour or for an hour, then with respect, so can you. If it's good enough for Coach K, it's good enough for Roy Williams, good enough for Dabo Swinney, I'm sorry, it's nonsense. Oh, he doesn't like doing it. It's not bleed. You took the job. You took the job. This is what every other coach in the league does. If I were other coaches in this conference and I see Carolina's behavior, how little they're doing, I'd be ticked off at them. I'd be a little annoyed. I honestly would. I don't know if they are. Obviously, people in the media are annoyed by it because they make it very hard for us to actually talk about the team, which is what we're trying to do. And when they don't talk to us and don't talk about football, then what do people talk about?
Yeah.
Talk about Jordan Hudson. Talk about things they don't want us to talk about, but they're the reason. They're the central reason the conversation doesn't sit on football.
But from a media standpoint, I mean, he can't do every interview, right?
No.
So
No one's asking him to.
He's got to pick his spots. He's doing probably the obligated ACC stuff.
Yes.
He's doing the ACC press conference at 2 p.m.
Yes.
He met with local reporters earlier, like at 9 a.m. it sounded like.
Yeah.
You think he'll do any radio?
By the time this is seen, we'll know the answer to that. But just for perspective, it's every other school. I've been here since Tuesday. We've known what window, who we're talking to, what window for days, for a week. As we sit right now, nobody has an idea what's happening. No one has a clue. So maybe we're all fooled, and Bill Belichick decides, you know what? I want to sit down with Josh Graham, and I want to talk to him about ball, or Ovius Agilio, or whoever. You know, I'll happily be surprised and willing to say I'm wrong. But I got a feeling when people hear this recording, it's going to be that Bill did what was required of him with his television partners and with the breakout rooms and whatnot, and then got up for it.
You think Jordan Hudson's here?
She is not here. I had to confirm.
Confirmed. Close report.
Confirmed.
All right, you look at North Carolina's teams, the North Carolina teams, Wake Forest, UNC, Duke State. How do you handicap the season? Win totals. What do you think those four teams are going to do this season? First year for Jake Tippert at Wake Forest. Got Manny Diaz in year 2, I believe. And then Diamond Dave Dorn entering year 13. And, of course, Belichick entering year 1. What storylines in the state of North Carolina are you kind of following and should talk to these coaches about and should talk to other media people about?
The good news is none of the teams are bad. The good
Sure.
Yes. The good news is none of them are great. So you're just kind of, I think it's in tiers where it would surprise me if Duke wasn't a bowl team, just like it would surprise me if North Carolina wasn't. But those are teams that are probably not going to win more than 8 games. It would surprise me. It'd be like very overwhelming if they get over 8 wins. For Wake Forest and NC State, I'd put them a peg below. I think you're looking at it would surprise me if they won both of them as few as 4 games. That's probably the low end on what they can win. High end would probably be about 7. So you're floating somewhere in that middle of the pack. where both those teams can be bowl teams, 6-7 win teams, but
Yeah,
nothing
special.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clemson, Miami, for those that bell the ball.
Clemson, it's Clemson and everybody else.
Yeah.
You have sleepers. I mean, Georgia Tech, you have Pittsburgh, who started the season 7-0 last year. Difficult schedule. Florida State, not a lot of people are talking about, but that depends on how BC transfer Thomas Castellanos does. Can he, can he follow through on what he's been saying about Alabama in the opener? And if they win that game, then maybe they do ascend. But it does feel like Clemson, a team that looks like it's going to have 5 first-rounders on it, as many as 6.
Jeez.
It's them and everybody else.
Jake Dickert, what can you tell us about him? You're in Kernersville.
Yes.
What's the Salem area?
Yes.
It's kind of your hometown team. Mm-hmm. What can we expect out of him, just as a coach, as a person? What's he going to bring to the
A lot of energy. It's a jolt of energy in the program where the vibes is a word that people like to use. The vibes the last few years were great because Dave Clawson created a specific type of mousetrap that worked really well before the college sports world changed with NIL and became outdated. And they won 4 games each of the last 2 years. And Dave Clawson even said as much in his closing press conference that I could figure out a new way to win in this, but I don't want to right now. So I knew it was time to step away. And Dave Clawson was a very public critic of where things were going publicly. So you hire somebody that isn't going to make excuses. You hire somebody who is
younger.
Yes, but also somebody who looks at Wake Forest, maybe not as a destination, but certainly a leg up from where he was, because who had a worse situation than Washington State coach Jake Dickert last year, seeing the entire conference he was in collapse and abandon him, and every offseason losing coordinators and coaches and players and not being able to keep his guys. At Wake Forest, there's more fertile recruiting ground. There's more money. You're in a better conference. You're actually in a conference. So it's a situation where he brings energy, and this is a guy that looks at opportunity with Wake rather than what they don't have.
Yeah, I think it'd be good there. What do you like covering better? College football or college basketball?
Basketball. Easy. It's not just because we're in the hoop state where you got Duke and Carolina and you have it's just
more a consumable game, I think. Yeah,
but also it's thinking of a good word here. It's very the ecosystem for football, both for the NFL and college football, has become so congested to the point where I can cover a Carolina Panther football game as I do, and when I'm updating stuff from the game, I'm losing followers. People who are like, man, I get NFL stuff every corner of the universe.
Yeah.
And college is starting to feel a lot like that. In college basketball, it still feels as if you can get to know these coaches. You can get to know like the players that are there within the season. And, that's what I prefer.
All right, welcome back into Big Hitters Only. First time appearance here. My boy Conor O'Neill covers Wake Forest and Duke for On 3 now.
Yeah.
Rivals and On 3. I guess all the team sites are branded as On 3.
Yeah, pretty much.
Good stuff here. We're in Uptown Charlotte here in a little secret room. We got people getting lunch by us. We're doing a little blue collar gonzo journalism here, recording Big Hitters. Conor, you've been here 2 days now.
Yep.
Give us the vibe from ACC Kickoff, the themes you're following, you're tracking, what you've kind of noticed in this version of 2025 ACC Media Day.
Well, let me tell you, the energy has changed today. Yesterday was laid back. It was I cover Wake Forest. Wake Forest went last yesterday. The other schools in there. Syracuse was here. Louisville was here. Today is kind of big boy day at ACC Kickoff.
Oh, yeah.
Not only do you have Bill Belichick in the house, which I think has ramped everybody's energy up, you got Clemson comes to town. Duke is coming off a 9-win season. NC State is always going to have a little more verve at this time of year. Virginia Tech has people that cover them, so they're here. BC is kind of the shoe-in. They got out of the way early this morning, but It's a different feeling. It's a little louder down there in Radio Row than it was yesterday.
Yeah, I just left the Dabo Sweeney press conference, and me and Adam were sitting, I think, in like the fourth row, and I left early to do this podcast interview, and there was like 100 people behind me, just sitting, you know, the fanboy crew out comes for Clemson. So yeah, you're definitely feeling that, and the security, man, checking credentials. It never happens like that, checking credentials. I think that's the Belichick effect of they just don't want randoms here, you know.
How many times did you get stopped?
Twice, once at the escalator and then once again at the top of the escalator. So it is different, man. This Belichick thing, you know, obviously you cover a lot of UNC stuff here on the Big Hitters Only. So the Belichick thing is definitely made an impact in ACC Media Day. What are your thoughts on Belichick? What are you expecting as a guy who has to cover teams that play UNC?
Honestly, like at this point, I want to know what they're going to look like on the field, and I don't think anybody really has a sense of what that is. We know he has 6 Super Bowls. We know, you know, I have a feeling that they're going to have some tight ends they throw the ball to. If I know anything about the way they use
Hernandez,
and Gronk and those guys, they're going to have some slot receivers that I think are going to get the ball a lot.
White guys.
I don't know who they like. I don't know. They have a quarterback that they brought in from South Alabama in the spring portal, so he missed out on some development time, missing spring practices. The people that were out there at spring practices don't know anything about the personnel because they weren't in numbers or names or anything. They were just in plain old jerseys.
No one knows anything, and that's what's so interesting. We won't find out anything today either. You probably won't find anything going to. Maybe the one time he talks during preseason practice, you have to glean some stuff from player interviews, but it's so intriguing.
And I think that's the biggest thing because in years past, you knew so much about Carolina at this point.
Because Mac would talk.
Because Mac would tell everybody about his team.
Break down the whole roster.
Yeah, and it's just you have so many different ways that this is a night and day transition, and that's one that I wasn't really thinking of, that we just wouldn't know anything about who they have on their team.
Yeah, exactly. I think Wake's interesting with a new coach in Dickert, and he got Duke second year with Manny Diaz, hoping the internet stays strong here. And I think the interesting thing is the Mensa quarterback move, getting the Tulane quarterback. You know, the headline is 2 years, $8 million. You informed me that's, you know, he has to win the Heisman.
If he wins the Heisman, he'll make that one.
Yeah, but I think the biggest thing there is Duke showing that they want to play big boy football. Yeah. They're going to invest in it. You know, they did the renovation on Wallace Wade a couple years ago. It's a great press box, among other amenities there. What do you track? Duke's just like hard. It's a hard program to predict. They have good years. They had bad years. It was stabilized by Cutcliffe. What are you thinking about Duke this year with a quarterback that's been proven at a little bit lower level of football?
I'm thinking if things break right, you know, they have a trip to Clemson that's going to be tough to win. But
let's think broader. What Duke football? What are they going to be? What do they want to be? Are they gearing up to change conferences? Like what?
I don't know if a conference change is going to be in the cards for Duke in 4 or 5 years when the ACC looks different than what it looks like right now. I think it's a team that this year can probably compete for an ACC championship.
Okay.
I don't think it wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world if they wind up in Charlotte first weekend of December. I'm not expecting them to. I'm not saying that they're expected to be there over Clemson, Miami, or SMU. But if 2 of those 3 don't have the seasons that we think they can have, then Duke could wind up there. More big picture wise, I think Duke is realistic. The people you talk to at Duke, they're realistic about what Duke is. And Duke is always going to be basketball first. Mm-hmm. But they're also understanding now of whatever conference they're in the future, whatever the future holds for Duke athletics, it's going to be paved by football success too. It's not just you're not just going to write a ticket into a new conference with the basketball program.
Yeah.
And that's why after you get Mike Elko and after he leaves after 2 years, you hire an experienced coach with Manny Diaz, somebody who's been a head coach at a big place before, who knows what
it takes.
Yeah, who knows what it looks like at that level.
And probably won't be run off or won't be looking for a better job because he's been there, done that, got fired. You know, sees the stability in a place like Duke, can kind of do what Cutcliffe does as he gets into his, how old is he? He's almost 50?
Manny's 51.
Okay. Looks good. Looks real good. Good hair.
And I'll tell you what, his entire staff, other than one coach, is younger than him.
Yeah.
So it's a young, energetic staff that's going to recruit and going to try to prove on the recruiting trail, hey, we're not just taking all of your underrated 3-stars and turning them into big players. They have a few 4-stars on this in this recruiting class.
Give me a sense or two on Dickert as a person. Your first impressions of him. I don't want to get in the weeds on Wake Forest football, but just like a new coach in the ACC now.
It is very much different from Dave Clawson. One of the biggest changes that I noticed yesterday was, Dave Clawson at Media Day would always be talking about the state of college football and NIL concerns and where the direction of the sport was going and all kinds of big picture type stuff. And it's not like Jake doesn't want to talk about that type of stuff. He hasn't been a head coach for almost 30 years in the way Clawson had. So you're able to kind of cover a little more ground with Jake. You're able to. Are we losing the connection here?
No, I don't know. It may save.
Okay.
Save. We won't go too long, so I won't waste any more of your time.
But yeah, I talk about the polar opposite going from Belichick to Mac. It is kind of the same thing at Wake Forest.
Like he's young, 42.
You have a West Coast guy, young, early 40s, young family. He's never lived on the East Coast.
Yeah.
This is a coaching staff that has to. I was joking around with one of their players from Florida last year about how he had to explain to his coaches what humidity is.
It's funny. Definitely a factor here in the triad. What I think was interesting about that hire is that it was done way in advance. They had been talking. The plan was in place to bring him over, which is smart for a place like Wake. They have to be very measured in how they do things, and it's a different kind of place, just like Duke. It's a different kind of place where you can't just bring anybody in.
You also have to remember that the last time their AD tried to hire a football coach, he was fired at Tennessee in the middle of that search.
Yeah, that was a wild search. All right, not sure if this is going to save or not, but let's talk a little golf. How's the golf game?
It's good. I played last week. Might be the last time all year since.
You can get it rounded in August. Where'd you play?
Man, practices. Place called the Meadowlands in Kernersville.
Oh yeah, my dad.
You played out there?
No, but my dad was going to play there, and I was going to join him, but it got rained out. Dude, I played this place called. It was in. Fuck, I can't remember it. It was in Archdale.
Holly Ridge.
Yes, great course. Easy.
What did you think of the greens?
They were good.
Okay.
Were they not good replay?
No, I love playing Holly Ridge. It's gotten a little expensive for me in the times that I want to play. It gets $70 or $80 to get a.
It was 50 for me.
Okay, you probably went late in the afternoon.
No, early in the morning.
Huh. Maybe I'm reading the rates wrong.
Yeah. Anyway, it was good. I played for the Golds, senior tees. I started at 93.
Nice.
Because I played with my dad and his friend, and so we just played for the Golds.
They might have changed the greens, but I love the greens out there. They're so fast.
Yeah, it was a cool course.
I love fast greens.
I didn't like losing any balls. I hate courses where, like, dude, if you hit it out of bounds, you lose your ball.
Yeah.
Like it's in the woods, in the brush. Like, I like, as I get more into golf, it's nice to be able to find your ball and at least hit it out of some stuff versus just losing balls on every hole.
Well, I'm glad you like Holly Ridge because I want to go out to Holly Ridge again.
Yeah, let's do it. I mean, there's just a lot of good courses where we live, 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes from our house that are reasonably priced. Trying to keep golf under 50, 60, unless it's like something really special. All right, we may have to have you back on if this doesn't save, but hopefully we got a glimpse of Duke and Wake, a little vibe of the ACC Media Day, a little Belichick talk, a little golf talk, but we'll have Conor on maybe later on in the season to preview Duke. Does UNC play Duke or Wake? They play Duke, right?
I think they play both.
Okay, cool.
But they're both late in the season. I think it's 1 week it's Wake and the next week is Duke.
All right, and now we welcome on WRAL sportscaster Pat Welter. Covers the Tar Heels, NC State, Duke. What's your official title? Are you lead sportscaster?
Well, I got a new title in the last 6 months. I am executive sports producer, which makes me a lead in some regards. Me and Chris Lee, tag teaming a lot of it over there. Definitely a partnership. We got Brian Murphy, who is a big hitter. So I am honored to be part of the club, man. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, I forgot about Chris Lee. I tried to dap Chris Lee up at the UNC baseball game, and he was not having it. I don't know why. You gotta kiss the ring. All right, Pat, you were in Charlotte for 3 days. We're gonna focus on the final day, and you also just came back from is it Bill Dooley? Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
Bill Dooley's Pigskin Preview, kind of a scholarship event with all the states, a lot of the states' college coaches.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that too, and we'll just get your takes on some general North Carolina, NC State Duke stuff, and then dive deep into your thoughts on Belichick. So, what are your 3 major takeaways from ACC Media Day? If you were to write an article, 3 major things.
UNC won the kickoff, right? Like it's a media event, and they drew all the media. And, interesting from a strategy point, I don't blame them for putting NC State, Duke, and UNC all on the same day. But I think maybe if you were to talk to some people again, maybe they wouldn't put them 1, 2, 3 in a row. Because if you looked at the NC State press conference, it completely cleared out because everyone was in for Belichick.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's kind of what UNC wanted when they hired this guy, right? Raise the profile of the school, raise the financial interest in the school. They've already sold out their tickets, and the media was all over it. It's a little ironic to me, though, Ross, because, yeah, Belichick's a big story. I'm interested. But he doesn't actually say that much. He isn't actually, that interesting of a person to, speak to. Obviously, the mystery, the Jordan Hudson element, the full career is what draws you in. So it's kind of a double-edged sword in a way covering it.
Yeah, I mean, it's because he's won 6 Super Bowls and coached Tom Brady and is considered the best NFL coach. Honestly, you kind of go in with low expectations when you talk to him, given his press conference history. But I thought he was likable, laughed a little bit, made some jokes, was very respectful of the process, and trying to answer all the ridiculous questions from the random blogs and podcasts.
How about the fullback? The fullback question? Did you clock that one?
Yeah, that was a good one. So, no, I agree. I thought it was unbelievable how much attention he got. Are you there with the camera? Do you carry the camera or does someone else carry it?
Yeah, take it a little behind the scenes. I mean, that was one of the hardest days of work I have ever had. In media, we're doing a podcast right now. You're a writer. I'm TV writer, podcaster, video guy. So I'm from 8:50 in the morning. I got Dave Doran one-on-one, set up 3 cameras, shot that straight into the local only Bill Belichick invite only interview with about. Were you in that room? Were you there?
No, I didn't get that email. I think I'm off that list now.
Yeah, you're not quite the same on the beat anymore, but you're emeritus status, of course.
Of course.
Like you said, kiss the ring. But and then it was just nonstop throughout the entire day, man. It was an absolutely crazy day because anything Belichick did, we had to follow. But you also have to cover NC State and Duke too, so it's you can't win in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, it was nuts to take another little deeper look behind the scenes. I mean, you have cameras there from Clemson people, from Charlotte people that are covering kind of the ACC in general. Of course, the Raleigh, Durham stations, Greensboro, Spectrum News. So you have 20 cameras there. And they're following Belichick out of the bathroom as he goes from the ACC building, the ACC media room, to the break room or whatever, or to press conference room. It's just unbelievable. All right, we'll dive more into Belichick based on what you talked to him today about. What are 2 other kind of stories y'all are tracking that you want to kind of share that will be interesting for the scope of the ACC season?
Well, if we're talking triangle, which is my area of expertise, there's certainly a world here where Duke is the best triangle team. They were last year. They very well could be again. They were 9-4. They get one of the top quarterbacks in the whole transfer portal, and Darian Mensah, this guy from Tulane, who they're just absolutely raving about. And this is after losing Malik Murphy in the portal. And I don't know the full story there. The way Diaz talked, speaking about the Pigskin Preview today, it almost sounded like they wanted Malik Murphy to leave because they felt like they could upgrade. They felt like they weren't efficient enough throwing the ball for touchdowns. And I don't know, I'll have to look into that more, but they love Mensah. Their recruiting numbers have increased. Duke's a little mysterious with their finances, but this guy is making a lot of money to come to Duke, so they have some funding. So I think that's really interesting. And then the other side of the coin is when NC State's up, the hype last year, we're talking college football playoff, Doran is kind of puffing his chest last year at ACC Kickoff, and they just fall flat on their face against Tennessee. Grayson McCall gets hurt, and their defense is one of the worst they've had under Dave Doran. It was a train wreck. Other than CJ Bailey, he emerges. And this year, I'm wondering if we're sleeping a little bit too much on NC State. I mean, I've seen them picked as low as 10th in the conference. Yeah, I mean, the recruiting numbers aren't amazing. The portal numbers aren't incredible. But, like, in a way, that's like Doran's sweet spot. You know, when no one believes in them, that's when they thrive. So I think locally, maybe that's kind of like how I look at the season. And then it's like with UNC, I mean, 8-4 is just like the benchmark in general for the Tar Heels. And one thing, you know, Diaz said stood out to me, like this conference is so flat. It's not like the Big Ten and the SEC where you've got these elite teams with all these 5 stars. It comes down to close games. And with Belichick, you got to think that UNC is going to win more of those than they're not.
Yeah, I've been kind of saying that to people I talk to and in group chats and stuff. Like, I think the preparation from Belichick, the training camp, the meeting rooms, all this stuff that happens before the game, that will be improved. You would think they're going to be a little bit more prepared for all the different angles and opposition and scheme. So they'll come in more ready, more prepared. And then I think the in-game stuff, I think he'll be able to have his staff ready to make adjustments at halftime, entering the fourth quarter. In-game adjustments will be a little bit more improved than what Mac brought. Belichick handpicked his staff, and I think they'll be locked in. I think that stuff will win games, or at least will get you 3 more points a game, or hold their opponent to 3 less points, and that will win you a game or 2 in the ACC schedule. So while the talent may be a little bit down compared to previous seasons under Mac Brown, as Belichick gets this thing rolling, I just think the coaching baseline is just brought up a little bit higher, and that will win you a game or 2 in the ACC, and that can be all the difference between a shitty bowl and a decent bowl.
Yeah, I mean, it's the opposite of Mac Brown. Like, Mac Brown brought the energy, he brought the recruiting, he brought, you know, just the culture of UNC and all the history he has there. It was a finesse program, you know, like even at the end of Texas, like people kind of, it was the country club atmosphere. Like you felt that at UNC. I'm sure you probably did too, right? Like it was nice. It's a pleasant place. Like what was it? Mike Lombardi said the blue is a soft color. He's not entirely wrong. You know, he's not entirely wrong. Now that's kind of silly, right? Like, but you look good, play good. I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is like, it's going to be a very different, if it is 8-4, it's going to be a very different looking and feeling 8-4. They're not going to go in and lose to James Madison. They're not going to get blown out and embarrassed at Boston College. They're not going to like struggle to adjust in game. And I scheme wise, like you got to think that Belichick's going to out scheme people. And at the beginning, I was a little worried, right? Like the Jordan Hudson, like initially, it's like, why does he want to come here? What's the motivation? He's pretty old. The end of New England wasn't great as far as like roster building post Tom Brady era. And then you get all the Jordan Hudson stuff and you're like, what is going on? You know, like how locked in is this guy really? You know, is he just like out here having fun? But I think the more we've heard from him post the CBS interview gate, you know, where they've tried to put the focus back on football, it feels to me that it is. Like I'm in. Like I was out, I'm in. I'm back in.
Yeah, I think a lot of UNC fans are feeling very similar that they think it could work. And I think he just likes football and the money's worth it. And he just loves working with players, working with coaches, talking ball, improving players, scheming. Like he'd rather be coaching somewhere than not coaching. And I think a $10 million a year salary is certainly worth it. Let's dive in a bit to the Jordan Hudson thing. How do you cover that WRAL is one of the most respected stations in North Carolina. Like, how did y'all cover that? How do you cover that? Because it's very different, obviously different outlets, New York Times, Inside Carolina, CBS, everybody covers it in a different way because she's not on the team. She's not on the staff, but she is the girlfriend of the head coach.
This is new territory for me. I'll admit, like I know Pablo Torre, who's made his, you know, he's obviously successful prior to this, but has made his new name on his Jordan Hudson reporting, going all in on it. He called it like one of the best stories like imaginable. And I see a little bit where he's coming from as far as like the drama of like, you've got this like king in the top of his game coming back to do something new. And then all this intrigue with this, you know, unorthodox relationship, to put it politely. I just feel a little bit icky with getting into people's personal business.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we went over this a little bit with like Caleb Love and RJ Davis, and I never felt comfortable with some of that stuff. You know, what was going on, the way people that was talked about on message boards and among the fans. And I didn't feel fully comfortable like digging into this. But I also didn't think it would be this. Like, I thought that she would show up and they would have the self-awareness to know that, like, okay, we have this massive age gap. We are aware of it. Everyone's aware of it. Let's not draw excessive attention to it. And maybe initially it was like that. At the first intro press conference, she was just there. Cameras tried to interview her. She didn't do interviews. Then I saw her at basketball games. She sat right behind me at a lot of them. I got the chance to introduce myself, shake her hand. Polite young woman, pretty girl, seemed intelligent. And then shortly after that, everything went haywire. We're just like, we had no access to the team, but we were finding out all these things through Pablo Torre and through just their appearances at award shows and her social media. And then it became, at least at WRAL, we were all in. Like, we are still all in. Like, anything she does, we are targeting because there's so much interest in this story. Like, I think it might have peaked. It might have topped out. We might have, exhausted it already. But all it'll take is one more, juicy nugget of, the people just really bit onto the idea that, she was pulling the strings behind the scenes and that she was, and maybe to a certain extent, she was. He certainly was empowering her, at a minimum. I mean, where are you at on the whole thing? I'm still processing it in real time.
Yeah, I mean, where to start? I think might get a quote card of you, with you saying, polite woman, pretty girl, respectful, intelligent woman. I mean, what a line
I try
there.
to be delicate because I have to see these people, and I'm not a podcaster. I am a reporter. I'm a journalist. I kind of wear both hats. But I look at when I cover things and I talk about things, I have to think about it from the standpoint of what would I say that I would say to your face?
Yeah, of course.
And I try to be respectful of that. And again, going back to covering someone's personal relationship, I still feel, you can see me my body language. I still feel a little bit uncomfortable with it, but it's the world we live in. It is no doubt a story that we're going to have to monitor.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say is it is cooled down almost to a stop, which means that the new guy who handles Belichick, Brandon, who was by his side all yesterday in Charlotte. We're recording this Friday at about 2:20 p.m. for those listening. They've obviously have a plan now. Let's cool it down. Let's unite personal relationship. Let's kind of keep her away from the day-to-day of football. I mean, she is a star. And that's why it's so intriguing. And from a media standpoint, I mean, y'all work on clicks. I get y'all's newsletters every day, twice a day. And I click the stories that I want to read. And a Jordan Hudson headline is going to get more clicks than some budget thing from the General Assembly, Sure. So there is, I think from a journalistic standpoint, you got to cover it in some way, got to keep it respectful, but it is certainly a TMZ pop culture stuff. Totally. But it definitely, look, if UNC does not win at all over the next 2 or 3 years or however long Belichick's going to be here, it's going to look a little foolish, but I think it's interesting and I think it's intriguing and I think it draws a lot of eyes, good or bad, to a program. I certainly think her pulling strings and her making all the calls is a bad look for the program. But, I mean, I think it doesn't hurt to draw a lot of attention to your program when that's what you need. I mean, it's super interesting. I'm interested to see what happens. Is she going to be at the post-game press conferences? Is she going to be on the road with him on the field in Blacksburg or wherever in Chestnut Hill? I think it's interesting her role moving forward, or if she just becomes the side candy that is building her profile kind of off his, and they're a power couple in this world of sports entertainment.
Well, I'll just add quickly, I think she was going to do all those things, right? She was at the spring game. She was around at everything. And then post that, she has not been. She wasn't at ACC Kickoff. She wasn't at the event today. So clearly they've gotten the memo, and it's worked. We're fickle people. We are not that complicated. If you don't give us something to chew on, we have nothing to eat. And they have not given us anything really since the CBS interview disaster.
Yeah. All right, we'll get you out of here. You talked to a bunch of ACC coaches today at the Bill Dooley Pigskin. I always forget that happened because I never went to it. Greg Barnes or Adam Smith always went to it. What did you glean from that on Belichick, UNC football? That you can tell us? Anything different, anything unique, anything that stood out?
Yeah, it was interesting. Props to David Glenn, who was the MC, who was also at ACC Kickoff. Most of this is a fundraiser. It's about raising money for local high school scholarships. But there's a Q&A portion where the MC is asking them questions, and he asked each one of them kind of you're never going to believe this kind of NIL related type story. and Doran and Manny Diaz kind of talked about like players that hadn't earned it, like coming in and asking for like 10 times the amount of money that they had when they had no reason to. And Manny Diaz like was trying to talk around it, so he substituted rabbits for the word money. And like he's telling a story about like this recruit in Florida, and I'm like, I've worked in Florida. It's a little weird down there, especially some of the, rural communities. So I was like, wait, is he trying to say that there was a recruit that wouldn't come unless he got 2,500 rabbits? Obviously, I connected the dots later. Then every other coach started using rabbits instead of money. Belichick didn't really say anything too revealing. He's kind of like, well, I haven't done this before, so I don't really have much to add. I mean, I will say he's like kind of mastered like when he wants to answer a question, just kind of giving a one-liner, making everybody laugh, and then he's like, I'm out. Like George Costanza, he's like, I'm out. Like that's his cop out to not have to answer a question. So he did a little bit of that. Probably like the bombshell came from NC Central's Trey Oliver, who just like outright accused with no holds bar Virginia Tech coach of tampering. He was like, we were playing against Howard. This Virginia Tech coach is on our sideline, and he's recruiting our running back in game. And I don't have the name in front of me. Brian Murphy's posting a story about it right now. Like, all you got to do is like, this running back apparently went to UVA, not Virginia Tech. So like we looked it up. Like you can see who's the star running back on NC Central that's now at UVA. There you go. And it's like, and then we talked to Trey Oliver after, and he's like, this coach used to be at Carolina. So I'm sure if you start digging through the Virginia Tech roster of coaches, you can then connect the dots. Maybe because you know some of these assistant coaches put you on the spot. But like, you could probably connect it. So that was interesting. And that's the world we live in, right? Like we're living in a world of NIL where kids are renegotiating in season. They've got agents telling them numbers that aren't real. And you've got coaches tampering at, schools like HBCUs and FCS and just stealing their best players. So it was kind of cool to hear them say that. That's not the kind of stuff you get at a normal press conference. So it was revealing in that way.
Interesting stuff. Yeah, I think Belichick is, I noticed a little bit yesterday, this is his first year. He's the rookie to college football and to the ACC. He was asked about Dabo. He's like, we're all trying to learn from Dabo. So he's going to, not a big media guy in general. He's certainly going to pick his spots, not get over his skis on topics he doesn't know much about. And then maybe we'll get some more stuff out of him next year. Or I think asking him like direct football related questions, scheme related would help him be more revealing. I think the same thing with Saban. Like you ask a good question about football, then he'll give you a good answer. But stuff that will hurt him or not help him, I don't think he's going to dive into. All right, Pat, we appreciate your time here at Big Hitters Only. Guys, remember Delta Spirits, drink deltaspirits.com, a THC-based beverage. Go to drinkdeltaspirits.com, promo code BHO10 for 10% off. Pat, you're a big hitter now. We appreciate your time. We'll have you back on maybe a couple games in, get you your takes on Belichick. And we appreciate all you do to cover the sport, along with Brian Murphy, who's been covering some great stuff this summer.